Hello and welcome to the Bridge TV network, the new television network that will empower and will air different cultures and different communities in our great city of New York. It will cover restaurants, nonprofit institutions, community leaders, religious leaders, and will have a variety of discussion to bring about the message of the new America, the new culture that brings us all together as one. Today's guest is Mr. Bill Tingling, president of School News Nationwide, a diverse organization which builds on equality and diversity and spreading multiculturalism across the country. Mr. Bill Tingling is also a longtime member of the Unity in Action team right here at the Bridge. So, Mr. Tingling, knowing you a long time, I know that you were born in Jamaica. Could you tell the audience a little bit about your background and where you were born and how you arrived in the United States of America?
Sure. I was born in Betheltown, Westmoreland, Jamaica, a fantastic urban community, or country. And at the age of 7, I came to the United States, and here I am today.
Well, that's really incredible that you came from Jamaica, you came to the United States, and as soon as you arrived in the United States, you immediately went into public service, went into being involved in the community, involved in the neighborhood, involved in the city, and involved in diversity. And now, for the question is, you're obviously a man of color. How did you get involved with the dealing so aggressively all over the country on the issue of the Holocaust?
That's a good question. Working with Holocaust survivors, I've learned many specific things. One in particular, the matter of the Holocaust is not a Jewish thing. It's not a Muslim thing. It's a humanitarian thing. Why? Because the atrocities of the past take place not only with one group or two groups, but when one atrocity takes place, it affects everyone. In the process of my time working with Holocaust survivors more than 25 years ago, I met a wonderful woman. Her name was Sally Frischberg, a Holocaust survivor. A gentleman in my life, his name was Sean Hallahan. Sean and I worked together for many years at Madison Square Garden. And I was doing, at the time I was a journalist, I was doing a story on Yonkers. And he says, why don't you just do a story on how African Americans slaved build New York City? I said, Sean, that's a great idea. In the process of my investigation, I met Sally. More than 25 years ago, my life became revolutionized in regards to ethics, in regards to matters of atrocities, matters of injustice, matters of genocide, after hearing Sally's story. And from that time, Sally and I have been touring New York City and the world, sharing the importance of tolerance, empathy, anti-Semitism, respect for each other, and inclusion. So here we are today, more than 25 years ago, more than thousands of students have came through Sally's hand and my hand.
So, Bill, what is your message and what is your vision to the young people in our nation today, and how are they responding to your message, to our message, to the diversity message? How is the young people, and how do we get them engaged in understanding the past? And by understanding the past, we can understand together the future.
Mark, education is the most important thing one can ascertain. President Mandela says that one of the most portable things you can carry with you when you command it is education. It's portable, you carry it wherever you go. Specifically answering your question, I believe that teaching anti-Semitism, anti-hatred, teaching the importance of love, compassion, empathy in the entire American school system can propel integrity, merits of credibility, and love and compassion among each other. In doing so, I guarantee that we'll not only have respect for each other and care about our neighbor, but more so fulfill the desire, the strong desire of love and compassion. In my opinion, in regards to education, I think everyone, all Americans, youth, should take the opportunity to visit one of the museums we have here in America, in New York, such as the Heritage Museum, such as the Tolerance Museum on Long Island, and at the same time, if you possibly can, visit one of the institutions that atrocities came from, Ghana in Africa, or many other Africa, if you possibly could do this. Why? It's a level of education in which you can entertain the mind and at the same time carry that legend, carry that opportunity, that privilege on to the next generation. I believe, Mark, what you're doing here at the Bridge, that education should be, when it comes to tolerance, when it comes to anti-Semitism, here again, anti-racism, anti-hatred, should be taught in the entire school system. It's not. It's not. If so, then why would we have such broad level of hatred in our country, in the world? Here again, addressing that principle, it goes back to education.
Bill, do you see an increase in interest as you travel around the state and the nation with Sally and giving speeches about hatred? How do you feel? Do you feel that we're getting the message across to the young people?
We are, but at a minimal scale. To bring a larger scale of tolerance, of education, I created a bus. It's called, a team that is, when I say I mean we created a bus. It's called the Tour for Tolerance bus. With this bus is similar to Epcot Center. It'll be retrofitted with holograms, interactive technology, and different kind of material in regards to teaching tolerance. On the bus also will be a live Holocaust survivor. One bus will see 75,000 students per year. How does it work? Well, the retrofitted bus will have a live Holocaust survivor, will come to your school. Prior to us getting to your school, you will already have a curriculum in regards to tolerance, anti-Semitism, anti-hatred, and we, the bus, will come to your school and see the majority of your students before the bus leaves, meaning it'll take a week, it'll take 2 weeks, whatever it takes. But one bus will serve 75,000 students per year. It is challenging for many New Yorkers to go to museums, to go to other places. So we are bringing the bus to your school. So this is a way of teaching and bringing tolerance studies, Holocaust studies to the school system. Here again, it is very challenging for students to get on the bus, get permission slips, go on the train, but we are making it easier through our Tour for Tolerance bus. So Mark, education again, making it easier by bringing the system that we have to schools is a way of picking up the speed in bringing anti-hatred and anti-Semitism and anti-hate studies to schools.
Very well said, Bill. We're talking to Mr. Bill Tingling, a national figure involved in advocacy on behalf of diversity and multiculturalism in the country, across the world. And we'll be right back after a short break. Welcome back to Bridge TV. We're now interviewing Mr. Bill Tingling, a national figure on diversity and multiculturalism. Welcome back, Bill.
Thank you.
So what do you see in America what should the leadership, the political leadership, religious leadership, community leadership, what should they be doing? What would you like to see them doing to make sure that the message that we are promoting and talking about love and unity among all, that message resonate across the country?
I would say it's called commonality, meaning community. Our country was not built in isolation. It took a diverse community to work together to build what we have. So, what has happened? Well, we have different leverage now in stages: the rich, the poor, the middle class, which is good. But there's a separation of ideology, there's a separation of thought. What can we do in our New York or elsewhere to make things better? Community organization, community influence, community input. We all act as one. The politicians, the police department, the school systems, the community leaders. When something happened, we all mobilized ourselves as one to alter, to amend, to fix that situation. We work as a community, in the school system. The school system we have, all should be in one. Not you get greater because you're a richer community, or we get less because we have a poor community, but we work as one to build what we have.
That was very well said, Bill. On a final note, in the last 2 weeks, you went on a very important mission to Ukraine. It was the 80th anniversary of Bar Yar massacre. That was a massacre in the World War II era, where so many thousands of Jews were slaughtered at Bar Yar. And you were there. You spent 2 weeks there. I know you met with senior members of the government. You were interviewed I've seen on all the Ukrainian TV stations. And how did you feel being in a country of Ukraine and with Jewish leaders and non-Jewish leaders? I know leaders of all faith were there. How did it feel to be there and be on this, actually on the ground, on the hallowed ground, where so many thousands of people perished or were murdered?
Mark, that's an emotional question, but a good question. I bring greetings to I call it Ukraine, my new Ukraine family. Mark, they are not only wonderful people in Ukraine, but they have a willing spirit and a willing heart to know more about America. Thousands of people were murdered in the Ukraine. I had the opportunity of visiting Bogdanovka, where in 2 days, 54,600 people were massacred in 2 days. I was there, Mark. It brings me in a stage of mind of how is it possible for such a thing to happen in this world? Professor Elie Wiesel says, if we fail to correct the past, it's destined to happen again. I am working on a project, Mark, in which the Ukrainians and the Americans can work together. Our students, our youthful individual, our government, in developing an exchange program, a wonderful system for us to make sure that the atrocities of the past doesn't repeat itself. How? Education. Andrea Bollinger, one of the leaders for the March of the Living, she says it would be so ideal if we could bring 25,000 or a group of people to Ukraine. And I said, Andrea, that's a great idea. We'll do that. So our leader, his name is Samuel Bykov, also agreed. So we are planning on bringing thousands of people to Kiev, Ukraine, to share with them our compassion, our love, our empathy of the past, what took place with the Ukrainian people, and also of the present. So here is another level of understanding which we will be working together. Odessa had one of the largest population of Jewish people prior to World War II. And the Nazis came in and mutilated, killed thousands of Jewish people from Odessa. So we have an opportunity as Americans to rebuild that relationship of love and compassion and cross-cultural indifferences with the Ukrainians. So Mark, we have a project, and with the bridge as our forefront here in New York, I'm quite sure as time goes on, we'll be able to have a strong, robust authority in levering the entity of our podcast.
Well, thank you so much, Bill, for such an informative program. And I'm glad that you brought up the issue of March of Living, which, for our viewers who don't know what the March of Living is, every year we have tens of thousands of people that go visit Auschwitz, and they have a program. They visit the site where tens of thousands of millions of Jews were murdered every day. And that's what we're trying to do here at the Bridge TV. We are trying to be a March of the Living on a daily basis to reach our audience, to understand our community, understand our different ethnic groups in our community, to understand our ethnic businesses, our nonprofits, our institutions, our culture, because that's what it's all about. So I want to thank you, Bill, for being at the show, and I look forward to seeing you again on the show for the further discussion on issues as it relates to diversity, multiculturalism, and the spreading of love. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mark.